Joe Rogan said the reason why you do these things is because you allow them. You allow yourself to eat this garbage food, even though you know that you're working on this goal to not eat this stuff and you're trying to lose weight. And you say these things that give yourself an out so that you're okay with falling back every once in a while. And he said the reason why you don't smoke is because you don't allow it. You don't allow it in your life. But you do these other things because you simply allow them. And I thought that was so profound. And I realized that for something to be easy to do, to stay consistent, it has to be part of your identity. Who you are, what your most important things are, what your goals are, who you're trying to be, who you're trying to have others perceive you as. It has to be who you are to the core. For example, making these videos. Making these videos and stuff, I've always done this. I wouldn't say always. I've done this for a couple years now. It's something I want to get into. I identify with this. But I've done it, but not super consistently. And I realize that when I don't do it consistently, there's like a void there. Like I feel like I'm not doing something that I want to be doing and should be doing. And so there was a mental shift between I enjoy doing this and I do this sometimes to this is what I do. Right? That shift is very significant. When you go from I enjoy this and I do this occasionally, and you're kind of planning in the future, maybe doing things a little bit more frequently. So this is what I do. This is who I am. There's a major mental shift and perspective change when you take that thing you want to do or be and identify with it. And you make it part of yourself. There was a separation there. And there's other areas and things that I do that I enjoy, where I'm now doing them more often because this is what I do now. And that's so key. And if you're there, if you're stuck in that place where it's like, why can't I get results in this thing? Or why can't I do this consistently? Or why am I always feel like there's an obstacle, something in the way. Like, why don't I get into like this flow? Like, you know you're into something, but you don't really do it. And there's like an identification thing that's missing there. Right? Outside of the enjoyment and the pleasure you might get from it, there's an identification thing that's missing. And I thought this was so profound. To go from I want to do this, and I do this occasionally, to this is what I do, right? This is what I do. And so when you say this is what I do, you're going to do that when people are watching and behind closed doors. You're going to think about that stuff. You're going to invest in it. You're going to be into that regularly on your own or with people. And you'll know it, and other people will know it. This person does that. This is who they are. This is what they're into. For example, there's a difference. Let's say you like to play basketball. People might say, oh yeah, I think he likes to play basketball or something. Or yeah, once in a while I play basketball. And there's going to be a disconnect between that and people really associating you with a basketball player, right? Because you do it occasionally. There's this very gray area of commitment. No one can associate that's what you do, right? And you can't associate yourself with this is what I do. Once you say this is what I do, well then now you're doing it more often. You identify with it. Others are going to identify, oh yeah, he's a basketball player. Or he's always on the court all the time. Or he's probably playing basketball right now. Or whatever the case may be. And now that there's an identification factor with it. And I realized that when you do that, you kind of break out of that weird stuck area of like, man, I want to do this more often, or I wish I could spend more time on this, or I wish I could learn that, to like, no, this is what I do. Like I'm constantly doing this. And I realized this, and I had to kind of take what are the things I was working on and kind of boost them up to another level. And I've identified with it, and it's kind of changed things a bit. For example, like I know a lot of stuff about working out. I've worked out a lot, like throughout my life. But then that was an area that I would always slack off at. Like I would do good for a couple weeks or a couple months, and then like I'd get distracted with something. I'd take some trip, or some stuff would come up, or I start focusing on finance and stuff, and that would be the area that would go. Even though that's still, and it will always be a very huge goal for me, and something I'm very interested in doing. It would always be the area that would just slide, right? And I would have to wonder, like, why do I focus on this thing or these things more than this if this is also a goal? And I would be the first one to slide off when when distractions will come up and things like that. And it's because I didn't identify with the type of person that is just so consistent that they don't even have to think about it. When it goes from, man, I have to stay on top of this and I have to plan and I have to do this stuff, to like, no, it's just what I do. This is who I am. Like, there's nothing, you don't allow yourself to slack off or to not do the things that are, you know, that are important and that you want to do and you know that you should do, and you understand them at the intellectual level, at the cognitive level, you get it. But it always slips, or you just never invest time into it. You don't allow that anymore. And so I realized that, like, there was a shift there, where it's like, if that's who you are, and say we continue with the example of working out. If that's who you are, you do this regularly, right? It's just what you do. You're not fighting with it. There's no mental ping pong there. Even if you go on a trip, on a vacation, you might not have access to a gym or meal prepping and all that stuff, but it's still part of you. So you're like looking for, you know, is there a gym around, or maybe I'll work out in the hotel or here, or you're looking for the different types of foods that maybe are better for your diet. Like, it's just, it's who you are all the time. And so it's not something that you're technically trying to keep up with. You identify with it, right? And so things like this, for example, making videos, this is something I identify with. I identify with personal growth and development. I identify with reading and meditation and analyzing and working on myself and watching hours and hours of videos a day on different things, different topics and finances and personal growth and different things. I identify with that. That's just what I do, right? And I'm becoming more of like that figure in my own mind. And now something that I've done for a long time and have been into for a long time is kind of jump that level of the next level of commitment and consistency and frequency, and not by trying to be like, man, I have to grind it out. I have to put in more work. No. It's like there's a flow to it. It's just a flow. Every day I'm in the car. Rarely am I not watching or listening to something. Personal development, when I'm at work, same thing. When I'm brushing my teeth in the morning, the first thing I do, boom, I grab it, and it's just like a part of me now. You know, like, it's just easy. And I've been that way for a while, but I've noticed like the level is just so much higher consistently, because now that's just what I do. That's a part of my identity, right? And so in some of the areas that are easier to slack off for me are not as easy to slack off anymore, because like this is what I do now. This is who I am. I perceive myself this way. People are just gonna see me this way because I'm into this, and this, and I invest in this stuff. A lot of times when you don't identify with something, even though you're into it, you don't invest in it. And so that's kind of part of the information side, right? You kind of want to do something, you know you're into something, but you never do it. You're not investing in it. And so for me, it's easy to invest in stuff that I'm into, because where else would I put my money in, right? This is where it's supposed to go. This makes sense to me. Camera equipment and software and gear and blah, blah, and all this stuff, and microphones. And it's easy because this is what I do. Someone that does video stuff, like videography, they have a bunch of gear. Someone can look at them, that's what they do. They're into that. They know about that. And they're just, even when you're not watching them, they're at home watching videos on effects and editing, and they're maybe in conferences, or they're always watching videos on stuff, other people that are in the industry, and they're constantly editing videos and recording their own stuff and trying equipment. There are tools of the trade, right? And when you identify with it, that's what you do. A carpenter has his belt with all the best tools. He knows the brands. He knows which ones are the best ones. He knows how to use his tools in different situations for different reasons. He knows the game. You immerse yourself in it. And it's just so key. And if there's things that you know you want to do but you don't do them, that sucks energy. That drains energy from you over time. Because you're not doing what you know would bring you satisfaction and fulfillment and joy, essentially. Your gift will make room for you. There's a lot of people that don't know what they want to do, or they dabble in stuff. You want to go from dabbling to doing to being. That's the progression. You're gonna go from, man, I don't know if I should do this, or I kind of want to do this but I'm not sure, to like, okay, you do this every so often, you're gonna feel a little bit better by doing that. But when you get to the stage where now you're investing in it and you're doing it more regularly, now you're like, okay, I like this stuff. This is cool. And you're getting more into this stuff. And then you're like, this is just what I do now. When you're in your free time, that's what you're doing, right? Like I'm making this video on a Sunday afternoon. I'm gonna go home, meal prep. I'm gonna cook, bulk food, blah blah, prepare for the week, because now I'm on my stuff with the whole working out stuff and putting on mass and stuff that I've always been into, right? And I'm gonna work out today because I know that I didn't work out yesterday, so it's part of my thing now, right? And then I'm gonna go home, probably edit this video. I'm gonna work on my website stuff or business stuff that I'm working on. Like this, just when that's what you do, that's where you put your time and your money and your energy into, right? It's this beautiful day out, I could be at the pool hanging out, but then when that's who you are, it's what you're always thinking, and that's where your mind is at. That's where your money goes, and it's just a constant thing, and it's just, it becomes who you are and it becomes easy. So if you're struggling with that, number one, you're either missing the information to do what you're supposed to be doing effectively, or you have a lot of information but you're not committed. So you need to have both, right? So you need to have both, or you can be really committed and do everything all wrong because you don't know what the hell you're doing, or you can know what you're doing but just be like, I'm slacking off. You can watch every video in the world, read every book of whatever you're into. If you don't put in the work, it means nothing, right? And that's gonna mess with your head, because you kind of lose respect for yourself, because you're like, man, I say I'm into this stuff, I want to do this stuff, but you're not investing in it and you're not into it, right? And that gives you structure in your life when you're working on your goals and you know exactly what you're into and you're in there, and it doesn't feel like work at all. And that's a huge piece of this too. Like, you want to be doing the things that don't feel like work, and then eventually get paid to do those things where you're like, I can't believe I get paid to do this stuff. Like, I would do this for free. The things that you would do for free, that's what you want to do. I would do videos like this for free because I'm always into this stuff and I'm reading and learning and all that stuff, and I want to put out information. And you grow as a person. I remember when I couldn't do a video because I was like so concerned about the video having to be perfect and every little detail. I messed up. What if the things don't come to my mind, and like how I would look in front of the camera, and am I gonna pull myself out there, right? And that messes with you. But then like getting more and more into it and doing it. Every video I do is a one take. I don't care to have it perfect. You know, I'm in a parking lot right now, just driving 5 minutes. I'm gonna do a video, right? Just pop up, boom, connect the stuff, video. And through the week, I'm thinking about so many things and watching stuff and analyzing and taking so much stuff in, that the topics come to me and I'm like, or I'm analyzing myself and coming up with ideas, because that's who I am. That's what I do, and it's not work. I'm not sitting down to try to do it. It just comes, right? And it's easy, and you get into a flow. So the message of the video is, you need those two things: information and consistency. You need both. And if you don't have both, you're not going to accomplish anything, right? There's a quote, or a verse, I should say, in the Bible. It says, "My people will perish for lack of knowledge." Chase the knowledge, because you could always do the work. If you're not a lazy person, you can always do the work. Chase the knowledge and apply the knowledge until now you have the knowledge, and now you're actually doing the work, and they're both working for you. That's what makes a difference. So make sure you have both. Number one, work on things that bring you joy and satisfaction, fulfillment, things you would do for free, and try to take it from dabbling or wanting to do it or doing it here and there to like, no, this is what I do now. This is who I am. People will know it. They're gonna know it really quickly, right? And so I started to put content out there that I typically wouldn't put out, kind of out there to a specific audience. And now it's picking up, and people are starting to see, oh, he does this, but I've been doing this, but I was just sort of dabbling, but I haven't been really putting it out there. And so like, this is just, it's a lifestyle. You got to make what you do a lifestyle. I've been doing this for a long time, but I haven't really been putting it out there. But now, because I identify with it, I'm no longer, there's no weirdness between doing it and other people identifying me with it or whatnot. I don't feel like a hypocrite, or like I'm trying to talk like I know everything but I don't do anything. That'll mess with you too. So I make sure that I don't do that too. So it's like getting yourself in that zone and immersing yourself, right? So you can feel like that's who you are. Invest your money into that. Invest your time. Make it a lifestyle, and it's going to be super easy, and you're going to get a lot of fulfillment and joy from being that way. And then the work that you do is going to be effective. You're going to fill your time up with the things you want to be doing and should be doing, and you're going to progress. Your gift will make room for you. You have to find what your gift is, get the information, stay consistent, identify with it, and do it. Don't try to, I think there's like this surface level where people find things difficult to do because all you see it as is work. I have to be consistent, and it's work, and it's just, if you identify yourself with the person that's just in shape, that's who you are. You're into healthy stuff, and you're eating like it's just easier. It doesn't feel like work. You just want to do it because that's what that person would do. If you were a person that's in shape, what would that person be doing all the time? They would always be working out. And if you call them up, they're not like, man, I don't want to freaking work out today. They're just doing it, and you're wondering why they're getting so much results. That's who they are. They've gotten to the point what they do, what they're into is who they are. And looking up products and buying this stuff doesn't feel like, damn, I just spent $50 on this protein powder. They took the $50 I would have spent on something else, on drinks, and put it to that. And that doesn't even doing anything on like in any other way does not even compute to them, because it's like my money goes to this. Like they're not fighting themselves every time. They're not trying to muster up free will in everything that they're doing. It's just, or they're not. It doesn't exist. It's who they are. It's what they do, and it's what everyone perceives them as. And you can see them 6 months from now, they'll be the same way. A year from now, they'll be the same way. 3 years from now, they'll be doing the same thing. And it's just easy because they're not fighting themselves with it. It's not a surface level thing anymore. It's not a surface goal. It's who they are now. And so that's so key. It's so key. If everything becomes easy when you're just doing the work that is who you are. It's what you do. And so I don't want to make this video super long. I hope you got something out of that. I thought that was something very profound. Something I noticed within myself and other people. And some things that I've been working on lately. And some concepts I've been picking up that I kind of wanted to bundle up and put in a video. But this is what I do. And I'd be interested in knowing what you guys do, what you're into. Whether you're seeing this video on my website or Facebook or Instagram or YouTube. Let me know what you do in the comments. And I'll try to help however I can.